I think we're live, but viewers are going to have to let us know. Let me just go ahead and ping that we're live. And yes, no, maybe so.
Shouldn't you link?
Not sure exactly how that works. This is not my strong point. Webcam, manage. No, I don't want to exit the stream. I don't know how to do this. I'm sure there's some easy way to do this. There we go. Hero's smarter than me. Nobody hears anything? That's not cool.
Sure, there's some.
I'm hearing you.
There's no audio right now?
I'm coming in super fucking
Yeah,
loud.
there we go. No, people are saying they can hear. Hey, I mean, I have no problem taking it at face value. There have been times where I accidentally have recorded videos and uploaded them to YouTube without audio, so would not.
I did hear about that mishap.
It
That's
happened.
pretty
It
great.
happened twice with Fight Night. I'm not clear exactly how that occurred, but it did occur. Well, all right, guys, here we are. It is finally that time of year. It's been over a year since we began the previous CALLOUS Invitational. We got pushed back with Smogon changing their schedule and with COVID and all that crap. Wasn't sure if this tournament was going to happen at all. If I'm being 100% honest with you, it's on a year-to-year basis at this point. But here we are. It's just Jabba and I because Dizno sucks getting that on the stream. And there's a lot to go over. This is one of the absolute most loaded main events that we have ever had. We've got some great storylines. The return of BKC after 2 years away from the event. The return of undefeated champion Triangles after being away last year and not losing a single match in the one event that he did play. We've got new players like Tricking joining the event. We all know how good he is. The lineup is really, really loaded, and it's going to be a really great tour. But today we're here to resolve the play-in pairings and react to them live. So
The lesser users, the play-in people.
I just want to real quick before we get into that make sure to thank everybody for their donations. I'm not going to read out every single donor for the sake of time, though I promise that I will read you all out in the end of the tournament video. That's been the plan all along. But one thing really special about this year is that we already, before the event even begins, have the highest prize pool that we've ever had. We're at almost $1,500 before we even start, which is incredible because we finished last year with 1,200 something. So it's not even a little bit lost on me. Crystal clear how much this event means to the community, how much support there is for this event. I'm really, really grateful. This event wouldn't be a thing without you guys, so thank you. All right, let's get to the part that you guys all want to see. You don't just want to hear me talk. You want to see the pairings. This is how this is going to go down. Let me just do a quick little overview so we're all clear and transparent, and we'll get it going. So in previous years, the pairings had already been drawn, and we were simply announcing them on the stream and reacting to them. That's not what's happening this year. The pairings don't exist yet. As of this very moment, and this is live, there are no pairings. I don't know them. He doesn't know them. We're pulling them right now for the first time. We voted this year because A and B are lame names as to what you guys wanted the brackets to be called. My wife is very displeased that you guys did not vote for Plusle and mine, and that was her idea, and she thinks you guys are all stupid for not voting for that one, but by an overwhelming majority, Aqua and Magma for the win by, more than all the other votes combined. Wasn't even close. So
Yeah,
the
he was
Aqua...
complaining to me about that last night too.
Yeah, my wife's not happy about that. In fact, she just walked into the room to glare at me. So, Aqua and Magma. And my wife is booing in the background. Here's the Aqua bracket. And here's the Magma bracket. You see these numbers here? So basically, the first name that I draw is going to go right here. Second name that I draw is going to go right here. Third name right here, so on and so forth. That's the only thing the numbers mean. I don't want you to confuse. They're different then these numbers. So it's not like Jabba's here, Conflict's here, SEA is in the 3 spot. That's not what it means. So the numbers in the brackets are the order in which the players are going there, and these numbers here on the little notepad thing are the numbers for purposes of the random number generator that I'm going to pull up, which is here. Hopefully everybody understands what we're doing, because I don't want to explain it again, and that's the best way I know how to do it. So let's pull the names, right? I mean, is there anything else, Java?
No, let's get right into it.
And as you guys may know at home, Jabba is one of the play-in players, so he's going to have to react to his own pairing at some point here. So let's go ahead and do the first drawing. It's going to be 1 through 16. I preset this up to be efficient, so it's at 1600. We'll knock it down to 16. All the drawings are just going to be one time. There's no need to redo anything unless we picked a number that's already been picked, so just whatever comes, comes. We're going to start right here in the Aqua bracket, slot number 1. The first name is going to be number 8. That's going to be male. Okay.
The male against
Male against number 7. It's going to be male against Zakaru in the Aqua bracket here. Java?
that's going to be a good game. We're going to see. I'm looking forward to see what Zakaru brings. I mean, you would. I hope you would know better than me, but I feel like Zakaru's been a main event player a few times. Do you know the numbers on that off the top of your head? Give me all the information now.
Yeah, both of these players have played the main event once. Male in CALLOUS Invitational 1, Zakaru in CALLOUS Invitational 4. Both of which had identical exits, actually. They both went 1 and 2, I believe.
Oh, Zakaru won. Look at him go. The French power. He probably played his game in the middle of the streets of France.
On his phone, that is correct.
Zakaru is always interesting. I'm we're probably going to get into this at the end. Our predictions. I think Zakaru is just one of the in the play-in bracket has probably the highest ceiling and lowest floor at the same time. I would say. Male's a tough opponent. I'm not as familiar with his advance as I am with his other gens, where obviously he's really good. So maybe you can speak more on that. But I'm looking forward to a Zakaru run right to the main bracket. So we'll see how that goes.
So your prediction here is that Zakaru wins the match?
I would never predict he wins anything, but you know what? Yeah,
you are here to provide reactions and predictions. You have to give us a winner for each of the matches.
I hate to do it, but I am going to go with the Zokster.
I'm going to pick male here. Not necessarily because I think either player is miles and miles better at ADV than the other. In fact, I think Zok is a really good pilot. But I think that male, supposedly, who knows, but could be psychological, male supposedly has a lot of time and is very motivated. And this is coming at a really good time for him where he can really put the prep in and the effort in. Not to say that Zok isn't motivated, but I don't think Zok has played a lot of ADV this year. If he had, I would have just invited him to the main event again. But I think that Zok has played less in general this year, and when he has played, it's been more GSC focused. So I'm not sure how in advance or with the meta he is as of this time. Certainly capable of figuring it out and making a run. But I think the player who is sharper at this moment, which ultimately is what half these matches are going to come down to. Who cares more? Who's been playing more? Whatever. I'm going to go with male. But I'd be 0% surprised, of course, if Zok were to get the win. But just like you, I have to make a prediction. I'm going to say male.
Okay. Fair.
So to be clear, the next pairing doesn't go here where my mouse is. It doesn't go here. Just remember how this works. It goes in this number 3 spot. So the next name is here and here. We're now moving over to the magma bracket as we pull the next names. So, in the magma bracket, we have number 6, who is Finch.
Oh, it better be me. It better be me.
Yeah, You want this match?
Yeah,
You
I,
want
I
Finch?
want to take I want to take this man down.
It's on the record. Jabba wants Finch round one. Okay.
I offered to donate an extra $100 if you rig the pairings here.
I mean, I kind of want to stop and just do it. I'll take the $100 to give you. Nah, I can't do it for the integrity of the tournament, but I don't think anybody would mind. We do like donations here. Here it is. Number 3 is going to be the opponent, and that's going to
That's
be
some bullshit.
It's going to be SEA, C Super Epic Ampharos, whatever you want to call him. He's going to be against Finch in the opening round of the Magma bracket. Your thoughts?
It's gonna be an interesting match. Finch is obviously terrible. Um, I mean, the fact that you gave him, I'm assuming he was 17th, and then when Water Mess dropped, he got the last slot. Um, SEA, on the other hand, I played him a bit recently. I think he's really good. He likes to bring things that are a little out of the box. I remember we played actually for something random when I was on my honeymoon, and I thought I had it pretty wrapped up, and then he brought out the last Mon Rain Dance Kingdra, and swept, and I know I've heard he's a big Kingdra fan, but yeah, he's definitely more outside the box. You're not going to see him Milo Magdal, or maybe he does sometimes to mix it up, kind of like H-Clat does every once in a while, just to keep people honest. Um, so that this is an interesting match. Finch, what he's going to bring box standard every single game, right? That's just how this man operates. So we'll see the two clash.
And the winner?
Um, probably Finch. Although I hate to say it with every fiber of my being. He's just a really good consistent player. So it's going to be hard for anyone to beat him in the play-ins, I think.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to this one. I'm not going to take as much time. I echo much of what Jabba just said. I think these are contrasting styles. I think Finch's biggest weakness in ADV is his lack of diversity. I think he keeps it very, very close to bog standard. I think he just believes in taking a solid team from a good player and just rolling with it and not getting cute. I don't see Finch busting out a Metacham or a Kingdra or anything along those lines. I think his teams are just very balanced, Skarm, Salamence, T-Tar, TSSy kind of stuff. Doesn't go too far from the norm. And I think if Finch makes a deep run, especially into the main event, that's something that's going to be used against him. But C is the more creative player, for sure. And he's a proper ADVer, so I mean, I don't think this is even close to a David versus Goliath matchup. And I think C is at his ceiling very capable of outplaying Finch. But at the end of the day, being the jaded and biased man that I am, you always go with the guy that you know is really good and that is proven, as opposed to someone that you think and suspect is really good. SEA very well may be, but it's not proven yet. Finch, I know, is good. So this might be closer than people think, but I'm going to agree with Jabba and give it to Finch. So, now we move over here to the other side of the Aqua bracket. So completely opposite side. Cannot face Male or Zakaru or whoever comes out of this bracket until the finals, but we are back to the Aqua bracket in this spot, and this one is going to be 5 is Roses. We haven't pulled that name yet. Okay. Roses against you. Against
Roses
Jabba.
against me.
Against Jabba the Griffin.
Okay. All right. That's an early pull for me. I'm gonna win, obviously.
Thoughts
Probably.
on Roses as an opponent? Do you respect his game? What are you worried about?
Um, do I have to play PR? Like, is this do I have to be
not even a little bit. Give it to us straight. Makes better entertainment.
I'm sure he's a good guy, but he's definitely nowhere near as good. I'm just kidding. I'm kind of shit these days. But I'm still better than most of these players in the play-ins. Now people won't be able to tell when I'm kidding or when I'm serious. I don't know. There are definitely players on this list that I was more afraid to pull, and this isn't one of them. I'll leave it at that. He's definitely a good player. I'm gonna say that about everybody, probably, or else they probably wouldn't be in the play-ins if I had to reckon. Um, but I think I have a good shot at pulling through here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for weeks and weeks leading up to this that these are the strongest play-ins that we've ever had. And now that we see the full list, I think there's absolutely no doubt about that. I think these are clearly the best play-ins that we've ever had.
Yeah,
So,
in past years, I think you know 8 of these players probably would have been in the main event.
yeah,
Like not this quality of player would be main event quality player. Like half this list.
no doubt there are no easy pairings here. Whoever the worst or bottom three are in play-ins, they're still very good players. That's just the field that we have this year. You know, people joke or half joke with Roses that, oh, he's not going to make a run because Sandvale is banned. But I mean, you guys forget that, like, yes, last year he did get some wins on the back of Sandvale. That's fine. But I mean, Roses has actually completely gone through play ins before. Back in CALLOUS Invitational 2, he won his play in bracket and then he went 2-2 in the main event, which, by the way, is a record for the best a play in player has ever done in the main event. We've never seen one go positive, but Roses with the 2-2 record is the best that has been done out of the play-in bracket. So I mean, his run last year in play-ins was good, but like he's just very consistently been good in the play-ins as a whole.
Someone in the Discord just made the exact joke you made fun of.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I've heard it multiple times. I don't think Roses is one trick pony that has to rely on Sandvale to get wins. I think there's more to his game than that. Now, granted, does he lean towards gimmicks and shenanigans and kind of fishy stuff every now and again? Sure. You know, whether you like that style or not, personal preference, but I think he's a great guy in tournament play who understands how to win, understands it doesn't matter if my team is actually good, it just needs to be good against this opponent. And BKC hates that mentality and just says build a solid team, don't fish, whatever. I'm in the opposite camp. I'm in the Tamahome camp of the team doesn't have to be solid. It doesn't have to be good against anybody else or good on ladder. It just has to beat this guy.
Right.
So, who knows? I think he's going to match up Fishu. I think you being a player who traditionally has pretty clear preferences, I think that he's going to specifically fish against those. So I think
everyone knows I love to stall. That's just me. That's what I'm known for.
That's what he's associated with. That's right. But yeah, I think you're going to have to diversify it, or I think he's going to find himself in good matchups, and I think he can play at the same level as you. So I think if you want to win, you're going to have to get creative. I'm going to give Jabba the benefit of the doubt and predict him to win because he claims that he's motivated and going to put effort into this, but I would not underestimate Roses for a second.
I also said I was going to be motivated and put effort into my marriage, and we can see how that went.
I know, she's already at my place. Here we are. Magma bracket. Opposite side of Finch and SEA can't play these gentlemen until the finals. Let's pull another name. Number 10. Do we have that yet? We sure don't. That's Endil against... Who's 14? Endil against Helpona.
Oh, this is a good one. I like this one a lot. This is going to be a really tight series. I've played against both of them in random stuff recently. I've seen them play a lot recently. I think they're both pretty good. Obviously, you know, my opinion on Endil recently is definitely shot up. I think I was a little lower on him back in the SPL, and been on a couple team tournaments with him, and I've actually been with both of them. And he's a cool guy, and I really like the teams. He would pass me every once in a while. I think he's been playing pretty well. Coco, on the other hand, you always have to beware of.
Hey!
And he's gonna. He always has a natural advantage because he gets to play games on his balcony over the majestic water. he's always in his happy place. It's kind of bullshit, you know. Um, I think this one's gonna be a really tight one. If I had the pick, I'm gonna go with Endil just because I think he's had the higher quality matches. He had those few in SPL, so he's played at a higher level. Coco, on the other hand, he's been playing a lot in side tours. I've seen him playing a lot of ADV, and he's been playing it well for sure. But I just think maybe playing the higher end games may give an advantage. I don't know. It's gonna be tight, so I just got to pick one at the end of the day. So I'll go with Endil here.
All right, I'm going to go against the grain here because I think the predictions are going to favor Endil. I think that you guys in my Discord server, because remember, you guys can predict these matches. I haven't paid attention. I don't know if one of my mods is posting these as we go, as they should be, so you guys can predict. But there will
He
be
is.
predictions in the Discord. I think most of you are going to say Endil. I'm going to say Helpona, and here's why. And I'll also share with you that Helpona was the 17th player. He wasn't initially in play-in, so by that logic, I think that Endil is a better ADV player than Helpona, and I stand by that. Here's why Helpona is going to win. What I observed with Endil in SPL and just in general when I watch him is that he's very streamlined. He knows how to play against standard. He knows how to play just the basic fundamentals. The way that you beat Endil and what he had trouble with in SPL is when people started throwing weird things at him, when people started getting creative and showing him things that he hasn't gotten a bunch of looks at and that he hasn't played against a million times and he doesn't memorize this sequence, this sequence, this sequence. Helpona is like the nightmare opponent in these play-ins to play against because he plays gimmicky, complete, unviable bullshit, and that's what he's going to do against Endil. It's not going to be standard. It's not going to be by the book. It's not going to be the sequence that he practiced with his SPL buddies over and over again. It's going to be some just completely play my own way crap that Helpona likes to bring. And I think player v player, this is a difficult matchup for Endil. He'd be much better served. Endil's the kind of guy that you want to play against like a Finch, because I think Endil really knows how to play against bog standard compositions, and I think Endil also has memorized, oh, this is Asta's team, this is BKC team, I know what this is a mixed men's. He knows all that stuff. Against Helpona, you completely lose that, and I think that Helpona is going to win this match by virtue of Endil possibly making mistakes because he's not going to be super comfortable or sure of what he's playing against. You heard it here first. Helpona takes it.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility. I think Endel will be able to adjust, but you never know. Maybe he just has a brain aneurysm when he sees like a Vaporeon or something.
We shall see. All right, so I structured the rest of this weird. It's not matchup by matchup. I'm trying to keep the suspense. I structured this basically back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, so we can keep some of the pairings suspenseful. Let's pull the next guy, who's going to go right here, back in the aqua bracket. 3 we already have. That's SEA. 6. That's Finch. 7. We have that as well, right? That's Zoc. 10.
You,
Endil.
there's got to be a better way to do this. You know that, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
sure there's an
I can
RNG that.
I can condense the list down when we need to.
Okay.
Here's Bush. Number 9 is going to be here.
The Tush,
He's in the aqua bracket. Move over
and
here to the
motherfucker in the
magma
bracket.
bracket. Number 3 we already did. 16. What is that's
That's
Met?
the Mets, right?
They're not against each other. They're in different spots.
Oh,
That would be an interesting pairing. There's Mess.
why are you
Okay.
doing it like this? What a weird.
I'm keeping it in suspense here. I want the last 4 people. Basically, I don't want to come down to the last 2 and you already know who it is. I basically want to
Okay, gotcha.
spread them out. Number 11. That's 1, 8. Male we have 7. Who's 11? Sadly, Cius. Okay. Just 2 more names and we will have a pairing as we're starting to see how the brackets shape out here. We are back over here to the magma bracket. Need another name. 3 we've pulled many times. 13. TDK is here. So on your bracket, Java, you can see you're going to be against If You Beat Roses, the winner of Sadly See Us, and who knows? But we
What?
finally get an opponent here. This next name, whoever it is, and we're going to go ahead and condense the list to save time. This next name is against Bush Tush. See, we've pulled Roses, Finch, Zakaru, Mill, Bush Tush, Endil, Sadly See Us. These have all been pulled. TDK, Helpona, and Water Mess. Okay, so now we're just going to do 1 through 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys could follow me here. Save time. This next name is here against Bush Tush, and it's going to be number 2. That's going to be Kurtz against Bush Tush.
Hurts. The Paisy G pick.
Yeah, see the Jabba the Griffin pick?
No. You know what? I frankly, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't really know that much about Kurtz at all, so I can't even really speak about him. You know what? You go speak about him, and then I'll talk about. I'll soliloquize about the man, the myth, the Tush.
Okay. Kurtz was a top ladder player a number of years ago. All the ones about the spicy pepper or whatever, La Pimenta, whatever it is. I don't know how to speak that language, but all the pepper ones, those are all him. He was a top ladder guy, and then he disappeared for quite a while, year and a half, 2 years, might even be more than that. Came back relatively recently, and seems about as good as ever. Kurtz did play the main event once. I don't remember if that was CI 2 or 3. I want to say 2. I think he went 0-2 or 1-2. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't a super deep run. When he's come back, I know that a lot of really, really good players, BKC, Posse G, some other people, are really high on Kurtz and think that he's very good. I bumped into him on ladder a couple of times in recent weeks, months, whatever, and I've also been impressed with what I've seen. I have a biased, very high opinion on Bush Tush. I've bought him in 3 team tours now, including an SPL, and I think he's really, really clutch, and he's like one of the only players who, when he tells me to trust him, and when he tells me, look, I'm serious, I'm going to win, that like I actually do trust him, and he actually does win. So it's hard to say. I mean, on paper, I mean, Kurtz is supposed to be the better ADVer here, but man, I have a lot of fucking confidence in Bush. I mean, Bush did not look great in last year's ADV play-ins and got bounced out pretty quickly by a not ADV main. I think that since then, he's improved, and I think he cares more this time around. I mean, I'm going to be unbiased. I mean, I am closer with Bush than I am with Kurtz, but I think Kurtz will win.
I don't even remember. You said he was in last year's playoffs. I did not remember that at all.
Play-ins, and not for very.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I meant. Yeah, play-ins.
Not for very long.
Yeah, clearly. I've and so since I don't even remember that, I don't even think I've seen Bush play a single game of ADV ever. But he's the Tush. What do you remember what he brought? Because sometimes these off ADV players, if they're just rolling in with bog standard, and that's something. Hearing what you said about Kurtz, I don't know much about him, but that's something he could pretty easily take advantage of. But obviously, Bush Tush has had a really, really good year of Mons, and also he's just super cool. I think that gets you a few points, right? Just being cooler than your opponent.
Well, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, and I don't want to reveal his alt, but Bush Tush was actually top of the ADV ladder a few months back.
Is he Blues Energy?
He's not Blues Energy, but
Airports? Is he Airports?
he might be that one.
Okay.
For real though, Bush was top of ADV ladder a few months back. He does play the tier when he wants to, which is definitely not year round. Not that everybody in these play-ins or in this tournament as a whole play year round, but he plays this more than never. He's not just a throw into play-ins because I like him. He actually plays ADV pretty well.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to see. I mean, it sounds like they're Bush Tush is a secret ladder hero, and judging from the chat, a few people didn't know Kurtz was a ladder hero too. So it should be an interesting match. I love to see Bush Tush. I would love to play Bush Tush for the spot. That's my dream scenario is me versus Bush Tush for that slot.
And
Or Zakaru. Take that too.
yeah, no, that could happen. This is a brutal side of the bracket. Male Zoc, Bush Tush, Kurtz. That's pretty good.
I'm kind of extremely disappointed I'm not on Finch's side. Like you couldn't even rig that round one pairing, and then on top of that, you couldn't rig that we're in the same bracket. Like if he was on the opposite side of the bracket, that would almost be just as good.
Well, you know
Although
what's
there's a 0% chance he makes it to the play-in finals, but he could luck, I guess.
well, you know what's getting me right now? There's a 1 in 3 chance that we see Watermess versus Teclas in round 1, which is just an absolute disaster. If so, those are in the minds of many people the two best players in the play-ins. That would be a horrendous round 1 match for both of them. And there's a 1 in 3 chance that that's what happens. Then we're about to see the next name drawn is going to be against Watermass here in the Magma bracket. Teclas, I think, is the one that the whole chat does not want to see, but I mean, there's no easy pairing here. You get SPL or Conflict, SPL or Odin, or SPL or Teclas. It's good. This is going to be a hot one. 1 through 4, generate. Gave me 2 again, perfect. Number 3. That's going to be Cyber Odin. What do we think about that pairing?
I right off the bat, I'm gonna say I think Watermiss wins this one. I agree with your prior sentiment about him and Teclas. I'm actually gonna be I'm a little surprised here. I thought Watermiss would have been main bracket.
As did several others, for the record.
Yeah, I thought he would have been slotted there. And the fact that he isn't, I obviously am going to have him as probably the top 3 play-in player. And, Cyber Odin, I am more familiar with his DPP than his advance, and I know his DPP is some of the best out there. I don't know how well that's translated into advance. I don't know what kind of accolades he has. If he has a ribbon in his signature, since pixels tell all on that kind of stuff. So you can probably speak more to that, but at the end of the day, I think there's not many people in this 16 that I would take over Watermess. So I'm going to go with him here. He's just a consistent. He didn't have the cleanest SPL, but I think everybody these days kind of has that first rough and tumble SPL. You're nervous. There are 100 people in chat screaming for every wrong move you make, so you get a little nervous. You might make a safe move that you shouldn't just because you don't want to fuck it up, and then chat is like, "What were you doing?" So you kind of play a little safer, and you don't really play up to your abilities. That usually, for most players, fades away later seasons. But I still think he should have been main event. But I think he'll clear this out.
So I'm going to start with focusing on Odin here.
Odin beat him in SPL? I don't even remember that game.
I don't know what the result was, or if they even played. Mess did not play every week. I think Odin also ended up getting benched, so I'm not clear if those two ended up actually playing each other.
Am I confusing someone else? Oh, they're saying I'm confusing him with someone else. Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. Who am I confusing him with?
Well, Mess and Endil were on Sharks together. Mess did play, I think, like 2 games, 3 games. And then Odin was on Raiders. I don't know, but okay, so I'm going to start with Odin. Odin, I think, has peaked / plateaued. I think that his 6-3 SPL, not this past year, but the one before that, props to him. Hell of a lot better than this scrub has ever done in SPL. But without using the word fluke, I would say that 6-3 is not a result in SPL that I would expect Odin to ever get again. I think he overperformed in that SPL. Here's the problem with Odin, and everybody in the ADV community knows this. He just plays the same stuff over and over again. It's not just in ADV, it's in DPP, it's in Black White too, but focusing only on ADV right now, Odin is a one-trick pony. The reason that he succeeded in that SPL is because people didn't know he was a one-trick pony yet, or they didn't care, or they underestimated him, and they just let him do his thing and didn't counter-team him. Now that people know that he only brings the same type of thing, he brings the same 4 or 5 Mons every game, and it's very counter-teamable, understandably, his results have fallen off. To really put in perspective how true this is, and I'm not just talking shit, and people on my SPL team, Bush Tush, Golden Sun, everybody will vouch for me, saw it happen live. When we were paired this past SPL against Cyber Odin, I literally, that week, on the Monday, said, here's 5 of the 6 that he's going to use, this is what his team's going to be, this is what we should bring. Literally on Monday. And it played out exactly the way that I said. He brought the full 6 that I predicted that he would bring. I said to bring Offstar, which would wreck him, and it did. I said that we should change a move on the Offstar to beat Odin, and it did. It played out word for word. I was watching the game, we were in the team chat. It was turn 5 or 6 of the game, and I literally said in our playing chat, this is Odin's full team, and I was spot on. He's
Yeah, you know what? Now that you said that, I remember that exact sequence. I don't know what was going through my brain, but yeah, you're completely right. And yeah, you're right about everything you're saying. So on top of that, I think Water Mess is the best scouter in the history of the in the history of the game. So, and hell, if you can do it, Water Mess can do it.
exactly. Odin's very talented, but he needs to diversify himself. He needed to diversify himself a year and a half ago. At this point, if he wants to have any competitive Pokemon career, he needs to diversify, or it is only going to continue being the not great results this past year that he's had. Mess, I think, is very high ceiling and low floor. Maybe that floor has gotten higher since the last time that I watched him play. I still think that he gets a little too hot in games sometimes and doesn't handle RNG very well and gets a little tilty and starts complaining, whatever. And I also think that Mess sometimes tries to get too cute and too creative with his building and ends up bringing jank. But I think if Water Mess just keeps it standard and brings teams that are good against the 8 Pokemon that Odin knows how to bring, I think he should be fine. I'm not super high on Odin right now. I'm not going to be high on Odin again until he diversifies himself, so I'm going to pick Mess to win the match. Alright. There's only 2 more names to go. We have, Conflict and Teclas here, and then we can look at we'll make the predictions on the matches. We'll predict the overall brackets, and we'll be done to leave you fans to your devices and debate who's going to win these play-ins. I would love to hear from you in the comments after you see how the brackets have filled out, who's going to win each bracket and why. But first, let's fill those brackets out. The opponent against Sadly Seus. So we'll make this very, very simple here. It's only Conflict or Teclas. It's literally 1 or 2. Generate number 2. It's going to be Teclas. So Sadly Seus against Teclas here. This is going to be the most boring match of all time because they both just bring Big 5 TSS every single game and don't know how to play anything else. So
at the end here.
Yeah, I'm going to pass this one off for Dizno or Dexet to narrate because it's going to be boring and I don't want to. I think Teclas is the better player, so I'm going to give him the edge.
Just throwing out bombs at the end. This player can only play Big 5 TSS. This one is the most predictable trash of all time. I mean, it's your tournament, I guess. You can.
Nah, Teclas has diversified himself a little bit. He was stuck in the I don't build, I only play TSS for a couple of years. He made big strides last year in SPL and started playing other stuff. We did beat Teclas in SPL, but we totally BS'd him out. I don't remember the exact sequence, but we had a DD Mence and Golden Sun got a rock slide flinch that ended up being the difference between winning or losing the game against Teclas' Kingdra. We should have lost that game the majority of the time. Teclas' record in this past SPL was not representative of how good he played. Teclas has definitely gotten better. I don't know how much of it in SPL was having the wacky fucking all over the place H-Clat on his team, or if he had someone else behind him helping him build, or if Teclas himself has actually figured out how to diversify himself. But yeah, I mean, Teclas I think is not only better than Sadly Seus, but I also think he's more versatile. I can't find a reason to pick Sadly Seus here. I mean, if Sadly Seus plays to his ceiling and Teclas, who has in the past had problems with nerves and with pressure, if that starts to get to him and Sadly Seus is playing at his best game, then certainly Sadly Seus could beat him. But I think the majority of the time Teclas takes it down.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Sadly is clearly a very nice person. Helped out the tournament a lot in the past.
He's great.
Yeah, I Teclis I is just better in my opinion. If you're gonna just be brutally honest, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I think Teclis wins this one pretty cleanly. But obviously we play you play the game for a reason, right? So you never know what's gonna happen. But I think this Teclis will have a pretty good run until I get to play him in the next round, and then that's where I'll get knocked out.
And that, of course, leaves us with the final guy that we don't need to draw for. We already know the last man picked is Conflict here. Setting up a boomer battle here. Two older guys, two SPL veterans, two guys that at various stages in their career have gone for 20K plus in SPL. These are two highly regarded players who have both also played the CALLOUS Invitational main event in the past. This is a pretty big pairing.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. This time I know I'm being like not completely wrong when I say I know these guys more for what they do in other gens. I know TDK is one of the more versatile players. I see his name littered across all these random side PLs all the time, and he's always a safe bet, right? I mean, didn't you pull him recently for something? I feel like you did,
Yeah,
and
he was on our team, man. You don't remember for
I'm saying,
DPP?
I don't know. I was in like 8 of these things at one time. Yeah, and he was great there. He's pretty much great in everything he touches. Conflict, GSC, God, right? Pretty good advancer, as you said, a previous main event guy. It's going to be a really good. There's just two really good players. I think two of the better overall well-rounded players in the play-ins, but obviously when you're talking about advance, I feel like advance has a weird niche where general skill isn't as translatable. But this one's going to be one of the better matches in the play-ins. This entire bracket, the magma bracket, looking is very stacked. I think this one's a lot more dangerous than the other one. Luckily for me, obviously, but I think the fact that only one person can make it out of this is going to be rough, considering the level of skill in these 8 players.
And the winner is.
Oh yeah, I have to pick, don't I? Let's go. Let's go conflict. Mix it up.
Most of these, the second I saw the pairing, I had an opinion. This one, you might as well flip a coin for me. I don't know. What makes this really hard for me to predict is that I know for a fact that neither one has played ADV in many, many months. Like, they're both coming back completely crusty. I mean, TDK has been playing more Pokemon overall. He's in all these side tours, like you said, but he's freely admitted to me privately that he hasn't played ADV in many, many months, like probably since like last CALLOUS Invitational. And same thing with Conflict. Hasn't touched the tier in who knows how long. So it's just super hard to predict when you have that scenario. When you have like two really talented guys who just haven't played, you don't know how well they're going to adjust to the meta, how much they're going to care, how much time they have to put in. I know Conflict is a super busy guy. I don't know as much about TDK's personal life, but Conflict is our age and has a pretty good job and keeps himself pretty damn busy. So, you really could flip a coin here for me. I really, truly don't know. I guess I'm going to say TDK with the sole reason of he's been playing quite a bit more Pokemon than Conflict has recently, but this is the prediction that I'm only making for the sake of I have to make a prediction on the stream. That's the one that I feel for sure the least confident about. Flip a coin. A lot of respect for both of them. Don't love this pairing. Would like to see both these guys do a little better, but so it goes. All right, so bracket by bracket, and then we're out of here, and you guys can tell us who's going to win. Here we are in the Aqua bracket. Other than you, or we can even go side by side. We can do this however you want. You want to say who comes out of the left side, or who wins the bracket overall? Well, we can go side by side.
Yeah, sure. This is a tough one, and I make no promises that I will not contradict my earlier predictions because I
Perfect.
forget who I picked, and it's Pokemon, so it's a straight up coin flip anyway. Let's say out of the left side, let's go Zakaru,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then
You had Zakaru and Bush Tush, so who wins that match?
I'm gonna take Zakaru there.
Okay, so you have Zakaru in the finals against you. Who's the player other than
Yeah,
you most likely to get there?
other than me. Okay, that's fair. I would go Teclas there, and then I would probably say Teclas takes it.
So you have Zakaru against either you or Teclas, is that right?
I mean, definitely me, but you made me pick someone else, so
All right. I'm gonna say that I had male winning. I'm gonna say that Kurtz beats male, and I'm gonna say that Teclas beats you, and I'm gonna say that it's Curse against Teclas in the finals. Who wins that? That's brutal. You could play that set 10 times and get a 5-5 result. Teclas, I think, said he was busy in the initial week or two, but then he's freed up quite a bit. If he wins the first round or two and starts feeling the swag, if Teclas gets in his zone, he's going to be tough to beat. But I think it's going to be Kurtz against Teclas, and I have no idea who wins that. But if I must pick that, since we already know that Jabba has himself winning the bracket, uh, Kurtz versus Teclas. Fuck me, man. No idea. Absolutely no idea.
you gotta pick. Just pick one.
I'll say that Kurtz wins the bracket.
All right, there you go.
Let's go to the other side. This one, whoo, whoo. We both think. I just want to take a look at it here. Do we both think the magma? Yeah, I do. We think the magma bracket's a little stronger.
It's not even close.
You
Yeah,
think it's
this
a
one.
you think it's a lot stronger.
Yeah,
Fair enough. All
yeah,
right.
by a lot.
So,
This one's brutal.
so starting on the left, you have Finch beating C, and then you have Mess beating Odin. So Finch versus Mess.
That's a tough one. I think I'd have to go mess there. I think just that's a situation where specializing, in the one gen helps out a little bit. Gives them a little bit of an edge in kind of the bog matchups if it comes to that. But and then obviously, I mean, you're talking about Finch, so there's I can't make any promises that he won't just completely outplay Mess because he's prone to do that every once in a while. I think it's a really tight matchup, and if there's a world in which that matchup happens, I definitely think that's as good of a matchup as you would get in the main bracket. But I would have to go with Mess.
Okay. So Mess is in the finals, and then let's see. You have Endil and Conflict winning. Who wins that match?
I take Endil there, and then we get a little SPL sort of matchup. We get Endil versus Watermess at the end.
And the winner of that would be.
I frankly have no idea. I'm like you on the last one where I really don't want to pick. And in the same kind of way in which they could play the series a ton of times, and every single time it's going to come out differently. Let's go with Endil, just
All
because
right.
I've been on some teams with him recently.
Fair
So
enough.
I'm give him the edge for that reason that has nothing to do with actual talent.
So Jabba says that he himself and Endil are going to be the two players that come out of the play-ins. For me, let's see. I had Finch beating C and I had Watermess over Odin, so Jabba and I are in agreement on those. I'm going to go the other way on that pick and say that Finch is going to beat Mess and make it to the finals. And then on the right side of the bracket, we were totally in disagreement. I had Helpona and TDK winning. I will take TDK as just a better player than Helpona, who's not going to be thrown off by his nonsense and not tilted by his nonsense. So I have Finch and TDK fighting it out in the finals here. And I think that TDK is going to take it down. So I'm going to say that Kurtz and TDK are going to come out of these play-ins. And Jabba says it is him and Endil.
There's no overlap on that one. That's pretty crazy.
Well, you heard what we think, guys. I wish Dizno had been here, but he sucks. Let us know in the comments what you think. Either way, CALLOUS Invitational, as of right now, has started. The players are free to play whenever they want to play. The deadline, of course, is going to be a week from today. Might as well get it right fucking now. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting CALLOUS Invitational. Dizno still sucks.
True story.
Sweet.